Alright, greetings man, I'm back at it right here. So now, the first video of 2020, you know what I mean? I want to welcome you guys into 2020 right here, man. I really want to deal with this now. I really want to, this video right here, I really want to set the tone now for 2020 now. I really beyond now what, you know what I mean? I really want to set the tone for this, you know. So now, obviously we spoke about based on the last video, I really want to carry on with this. I really want to deal with now more the purpose of chaos, really the purpose of it now, and really where we need to go next with this, the next level for this, you know. I really want to deal with the next level, where we need to go next with this 10, you know, over the next 10 years and beyond, really where we need to go next with this, you see. So I really want to deal with it, but in order to know where we need to go next, we must first understand where we've been and where we are now. So we need to go back, then we need to understand where we are now, and where we need to go next. So now, obviously you guys know, you know what I'm saying, I deal with this. So now, going back to it now, so carrying on from the last video, we spoke about a lot of research I've been doing lately, dealing with this ancient energy of things like that nature, right? And we understand now that it's basically, it was a sophisticated society, right? This is what we had, right? But now, but after what really sparked this video, what really made me want to deal with this now was basically we understand that we often talk about, you know, modern day Egypt. We speak about this modern day Egypt, say that, you know, America's modern day Egypt. But what I've come to understand really, really though, there is no modern day equivalent. Now let me break this down to you. Let me explain what I mean by this. So now, you know, let's say for example, if you go to, you know, let's say all the different cities in the world, New York City, Shanghai, you know what I mean, Dubai, wherever you go, whatever city you go to, whatever place you go to, there's a standard. There's a standard amongst all the cities. So they all got traffic lights, they all got cars, they all got planes, they all got boats, you know what I mean? They all got schools, healthcare, medicine, things of that nature, right? There's this standard amongst all the cities. So wherever you go, you still have this modern feel, this modern standard. The human standard is the same. But see, if you go back a few thousand years now, you know, if you were to go to Egypt back then, but then you were to go to Europe, you were to go to Asia, you were to go to China and these other places, what you would find is that the standard isn't the same. In fact, there's a gap here. You see what I'm saying? There's really a gap. There's really a gap here. And really only the only equivalent now for what you had, the only equivalent, realistically, the only equivalent now would be as if you stepped on an alien spacecraft. This is the only equivalent. This is what I'm coming to understand now. This is the only equivalent. You see what I'm saying? There is no comparison for you. So really in your highest state, or the highest state, the highest society on the physical, there is no comparison for you. Because for you to have, yes, they have caught up in a certain extent, about 90%, but there's still certain things that they still haven't been able to do. You know what I mean? Yes, they've caught up to a certain extent, but there's a standard now. So for you to have what you had back then, at the time when you had it, that's really beyond genius. That's really beyond, I'm going to go more into it. That's really beyond human, and we really want to go into it later on, but really, that's what it really is. Because for you to have that at the time when you had it, that's really beyond, you know what I mean? So really, there is no comparison for you. There is no comparison. The only comparison, as we just stated, would be as if today you would step on an alien spacecraft. That's the only comparison, because the gap would have been so huge. It was going to Egypt back then would have been like an alien society, because that's how advanced it was in comparison to what was going on around it. That's what happens. That's the way the chaos excels. It just excels. This is what it does. You know, this is what takes place, right? So, you know, that's really what it was. And, you know, lately I've been doing more stuff now, you know, but but what makes me confident in able to say this is now recently, you know, we spoke about the TV, we spoke about the different things, but recently I've come across now, for those who know what this is now, the transistor. I've come across this. I don't want to speak too much about that. You know what I mean? That's, the people aren't ready for that. And for those who know what that is, you understand that's, you know, that really is the next level. You know what I mean? But it wasn't that kid. See, most of this stuff, it's not that I actually find this stuff. What's actually happening is most of the time I already have this stuff already saved, right? I have it already saved, and then come to the level. Okay, basically, the level of consciousness that I'm at right now. The level of consciousness is that I'm understanding now that nothing can really exist that can come into existence without chaos being involved, right? And obviously you guys know what I mean by this. Without the level of chaos being involved, without this being involved, without us being involved, that's not really. I'm coming to the level of consciousness I'm at now is that's not possible. That can't exist realistically. So when they're talking about transistor, you know what I mean, the holy grail of electronics, the holy grail, I'm thinking to myself, we must have had that. We must have brought that forth. There's no way the holy grail of electronics, the holy grail could exist without the input of chaos. So you know what I'm saying? So I'm looking for this. I'm looking for it. Then I finally found it. It was a wrap. We had it. And again, like I said, we're going to reveal most of this stuff coming in the near future. In the near future, we'll reveal this stuff. But really, we had it. So that's where we was. It was unimaginable in its highest state, right? So that's where we was, then. So now where we are now, with and what really deal with this, obviously us, we deal with we're dealing with the music now, we're dealing with the other things now. But see, it's funny, I was reading this comment on Wellstar, this guy on Wellstar, probably wondering what some racist guy or whatever, talking about, oh, look at these niggas and stuff, they're just dealing with the music, it's what they're doing with their time, they're dealing with the music, they're dealing with this, they're not dealing with the law and the medicine, and the reason being is because you already did that, you already brought that forth, you already set the standard, the human standard for that. That's why today we deal what we did. So the reason why we deal what we deal with today, dealing with the music, dealing with the sport, dealing with all that, is because that's all that was left for you to do. The music, the level that the music's at now, it was nowhere near to where it was back then. In fact, the music wasn't really in its fullest existence back then. Yeah, they had a few drums and stuff like that, but it wasn't at its fullest extent back then because they were too busy dealing with they were too busy laying down the blueprint for human society. So they weren't really dealing with those type of things. So music and art these were just emerging sciences. These were just emerging technologies. These were just emerging music, art, performance. These were just emerging things. You know what I mean? So it only makes sense for us now to then carry that forward and carry that on. You know what I mean? And obviously even with the music, you guys already know. We don't have to go into that. Without the chaos, that wouldn't even exist in its current form today. Yeah, there would be sounds, but in its current form, that wouldn't even exist. You guys know this, so we don't have to get into that, right? But that's what it is. So that's the reason why you deal with that now, because that's all that's left for you to do. That's all that was left for you, right? So really, what that is, really, the music. These are just we have to look to it as like, this is the holy grail, this is the highest level, this is real, but really though, the music, as great as it is, as sublime as it is, the music, the art, the dance, the sports, as sublime as it is, these are really scraps for you. These are scraps. These are leftovers for you. That's all you had left to do. This isn't the highest state. These are scraps for you. These are leftovers for you. This is all you had left to do. That's all it is. So yes, we may praise it and say, yeah, look at the music. Black greatness, all these different things, or black excellence, as we say. But that's really scraps for you. That's all that is. These are leftovers for you. But it shows you how sublime the chaos really is, to where our scraps is award-winning material. You know what I'm saying? So really, that's what we're dealing with. But still, these are scraps for you, right? These are merely leftovers. This is all you had left to do. Right, so now we've gone into the then, we've gone into the now, and what's left now is to deal with. What's left is for us now to deal with now where we need to go next with this. So now, what the conclusion that we can come from this, the conclusion that we can come to, is based on what we did, based on the then, based on the now. The conclusion that we've come to is that we've always been, we've always been above. So there's always been a standard that was set. There's always been a standard, right? And we've always been above a particular standard. So when we go back to where we was before, previously, there was a standard. You know what I mean? You know, there was a standard, we was beyond that standard based on what we brought forth, based on the sciences we brought forth. We was beyond that standard. So what we're saying is, where we need to go next is to go back to where we was before, in the sense that we need to go above the standard once again. Because now the standard is rising now. You know, everyone's got technologies now. Everyone's got planes, boats, ships now. You know, everyone's dancing now. Everybody's doing the rapping now. The standard now is rising up. So the human standard is rising up now. The worldwide standard. So what's next for us is to do what we've always done, is to be miles ahead of the current standard. This is what we've always done, and this is what we must do again. So what do we mean by this? So the next level for us, as crazy as it may seem, the next level for us really is the Ebony Maw, is the Nightcrawler, is the Deons. Yes, this is the next level. And again, it may seem, as crazy as it may seem, this is the next level. This is what you've always done. But most people, you know, they deal with this knowledge. But then when you start going into stuff like that, you know, the Deons and all that, that's where you lose it. You know what I mean? Because it's different. There's levels to this, and this is what a priesthood existed. You know what I mean? There's levels to this. You know, and it gets to a point where there's a crossover point where people they can come so far with you, and when you go to the next level, they can't really go there. You know what I mean? But this is the next level. This is what we've always done. But for you to, again, that means you're not at the level yet to really, you don't really know thyself yet. You don't really know thyself yet. You're still, you know what I mean? You don't know thyself. You know what I mean? But when you know thyself, you understand that that's the only thing possible. That's what's next for you. You've always been miles above the standard. So if the standard is rising, we must do the next level for us. It's not to, do it again and catch up and deal with the technology. No, we did all of that. I'm not saying you can't do that again. We're not saying we shouldn't do that again and deal with the technologies. But to be true to who we really are and true to the chaos in its highest form, the next level for you would be to go beyond the standard again and go miles above the standard, right? To go miles above it and really go to the next level, which is the Deon itself. But you know, there's many steps to get there. There's many steps that we need to get there. The first step really is the conversation. And a lot of guys were having the conversations now. You know, the dark side, people are talking about this because the conversations are taking place now. You see what I'm saying? So the first part really is what really brings this forth is the conversation. We're already having it. But, you know, but what's next? So I spoke about this. You know, my main channel spoke about where I want to go next with this. In the next 10 years, I want to do more. And I want to get this scientific outlet. So in other words, I want to get the scientific outlet. I want to get this scientific laboratory now. You know what I mean? To really start looking into these higher possibilities for the human. These higher human states, the higher human possibilities. This is what I want to look into. But I do have a bigger plan for that. I don't want to speak too much about it because obviously we're not even near that yet. But, you know, I really want to. That's what we need to go next with this. You know what I mean? I really start dealing with this now. I really start ushering in the next stage and ushering in and crossing over and going beyond human, go to the next stage of humanity. This is what we need to go next with this. You know. So yeah, man, that's what I want to go next. That's the vision. My next 10 years, bro. That's what needs to happen. So hopefully, you know, this video really has resonated with you guys. You know, and really you've seen really where we need to go next with this and where we've been. So we're taking you for a journey of where we've been. It's not a brief journey, but where we've been, where we are now, why we are here now, and where we need to go next. So really, what we're dealing with now is what we're supposed to be doing. You know, the art and music, that's what we're supposed to be doing, because that's all we have left to do. This is what we do. This is what we have left to do. You know, that's all we have left. You know, that's what we're dealing with now. So it's not like, why are we dealing with this? Yeah, that's because that's what we've got left to do. That's all we've got left. But the next stage, the next 10 years and beyond, we need to leave all that behind. As sublime as that is, that's really, as we just mentioned, that's scraps for you. This is nothing for you. This is just the leftovers for you. This is not the main course for you. So we need to go to the next level for this. You know what I mean? We need to go to the next level. So yeah, so that's really what we're dealing with right there, man. So again, man, you know, we just gone for the journey right here, man. Talking you from then to now and where we need to go next. Alright, guys. So just a quick video right here where we need to go next, man. 2020 and beyond. Alright, guys, man. So yeah, man, that's a quick video right here, man. Alright, guys. So yeah, man. Hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you took some good information from this. Alright, people. Thanks for watching.